This has to be one of the most exciting winters we've ever had. The regulation change is absolutely enormous. Every element of the technical function is having to get their thinking caps on because it's one hell of a challenge for us. Every time you run a Formula One car, you're learning. The cars have so many sensors and the data we gather is phenomenal. We're always trying to understand the better ways of processing the data and performance optimizing from that data. So throughout last year, we had the input obviously of Sebastian joining us. We learned a lot how we had to adapt to the changing regulations and how to optimize the car. There's a few new circuits we went to which we learned about as well. So I think overall we're in a really good place heading into this season. We learnt a lot last year on how to optimise that car. Some of the lessons learnt do directly cross over to the AMR22, but there are some quite fundamental differences too. The biggest thing really is the tracks we went to that we've never been to before. But you're forever learning. Every time these cars run, there's so much data, you just learn all the time. Obviously, we expect the top two teams who are fighting for the championship to still be, the strongest teams. But really, then the midfield group was actually quite close as far as lap time goes, and we're really hoping to be able to fight strongly back within that midfield pack. So that's really what we're aiming for this year. Yeah, I really expect Sebastian to hit the ground running this year. He had a difficult start to the year last year, due largely to unreliable testing, so he got very little mileage in the car, a very different philosophy car and a very different philosophy team. So it takes a while to get used to, but he's very embedded in our team. He's working hard in the off-season with all his engineers on the simulator, and he's raring to go, and I think he'll be good from the get-go. Yeah, we were very interested to get Sebastian on board because he's won races, he's won world championships, he's worked at championship winning teams, That was really interesting for us to get his mindset, the things that he really focuses on. We're very data driven, but the driver's one of the best sensors in the car too. So to get their input is really useful. A lot of the stuff that we were doing already, some of the stuff we'd not thought of, and that was the idea of getting him on board. With Lance, he's been on a journey since he joined our teams. He's forever learning. He works really hard with his engineers, simulator sessions before every event. A lot of people don't see all that stuff, but he really enjoys that work. He enjoys working with his engineers, and we're just seeing improvement and learning all the time. There's such little testing, so you learn at the races. You learn that way of analysing the data, of getting the most out of yourself, getting the most out of your car, your team of engineers, and he's on a great trajectory, and we've seen that if we give him a strong car, he can get the strong results. Lance has always been very interested in the technical side, and he knows how important his words are from a feedback side, both for us optimising the car at the track, the aerodynamics, the tyres, the mechanical side of things, but also all the people listening back at the factory. So he knows to be considered with his feedback, but he's got a very good feel for the car, a very good understanding of what is his main limitation. We also structure the debriefs and the briefings to get the right information out of the drivers, but Lance really well embedded within our team and working well. I think it's always good when you've got two drivers who think the same about the car and are pushing the team in the same way. When they're really close from a lap time side of things, between the two of them in qualifying and race pace last year, there was nothing between them track to track. So I think that is forever pushing the team. But they understand that the team will only go forwards if we work together as a team, and they're both absolutely solid team players. Yeah, I think nowadays there's so much data, all the onboard TV footage, every single run that any driver does, we have our own metrics on all the different parameters of our own car, and every time one driver's half a tenth quicker here and there, their engineers, the driver, they're all over that straight away. So yes, they always learn from each other. They're the only two who've got the same car. So you can learn from your competitors, but you learn the most really from your teammate because you know that he's got the same equipment as you. Barcelona winter testing this year is going to be the biggest challenge ever in Formula One, I think. The cars are so radically different. We need to just understand the reliability of the car. Does it do what we think it should be doing on track? Just get the main systems and the through speed range. Do the aerodynamics do what we think they should be doing? The whole correlation process is quite paramount during the winter testing phase. We've also got the 18-inch tyres to get on top of. They are different. Unfortunately, you go testing those in Barcelona when it's 5-10 degrees ambient, so it's not ideal. But again, we're data driven. We have so much instrumentation on the car, on the tyres, all the aerodynamics, and it's about doing your homework. We've got a very detailed plan of the data we need to get, but we need the car to be running reliably, to be able to gather that data so that we can post-process it and prepare for the next test and then the first race. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very busy programme. Fundamentally, we're trying to qualify and race these cars in Bahrain and the next 22 circuits after that. So that's the end goal. Everything that we're going to be trying to achieve throughout Barcelona testing and Bahrain testing is preparing for that. To be able to do that, you need to understand what you've got from the car, from the aerodynamics, from the tyres, from the mechanical system, from the power unit, the gearbox. There's so many things are different this year. The brake system, how the regulation changes influenced all the control systems on the car, you know, the differential control, all these things, it's very different. So we need to walk through our test plan, which is all written in priority order to get the key information, and then after each day's running, after each run, everything's analysed by all the different special functions within the company, and pulling all that data together throughout the whole 6 days of testing is what will lead us to have the right information to go qualify and race the car at the first race. Yeah, the car is continually developed in the wind tunnel and CFD, and the mechanical design guys, you know, what we're running at the track is never what they're working on. They're always a step ahead of us. It's all about performance optimization, so getting the right parts to the right tracks at the right time, you know, the right rear wing levels depending on the efficiency of the circuit, any reliability problems that you've had in testing, making sure that you hit them all hard so that the first race you are there at the checkered flag at the end. You know, that's going to be so key at the start of this year, such a huge regulation change, just to make sure that the cars are reliable. You know, there's no point being the fastest if you can't actually get to the checkered flag. So make sure the car's reliable, make sure it does what you think it should be doing, and then it's about, you know, optimizing them, making the most once the developments come to the track. Again, you're back to the not quite square one, but understanding them. Do they do what they should be doing? How do you then get the most out of them at that specific track? And it's just a continual process. It's great fun from an engineering side, but yeah, so it's a really good question, learning new circuits. We had to do a lot of it in the last couple of years with the calendar changes. And Miami looks a really exciting circuit and slightly atypical to some tracks as well. So it starts just with the basic CAD information, generating a circuit understanding. We can do some basic lat simulations to work out the circuit efficiency to allow us to understand the kind of rear wing levels we're going to need for that circuit. But then nearer the time, we will go out and we will laser scan the circuit to be able to build a full model within our simulator, so that our simulator drivers and our race drivers can come and learn the circuit. We can sweep through some of the standard setup items. All our offline simulation tools also use that circuit scan as well. So it's just about getting the right information, making sure that your development and software and simulation tools, I should say, are all up to speed so that you can plug in a new circuit and your tyre model, your aero model, your mechanical model, everything understands, bang, off you go, and then you can optimize the car from there. So at least when you turn up at the circuit, you're on the front foot. You've got an idea of the characteristics of the circuit, the kind of setup you should be starting with. And we're very fortunate with our technical partners is that they have a real ability to help us with the data gathering, the data processing, getting the data back to the factory as quickly as possible, tools to help us understand the data, process the data, visualize the data. And having such strong technical partners when our job is all about data, it's been really, really powerful for us.